Oh, hi! Didn't see me there. That's because I'm Link hiding in the tall grass. Well, at least for a moment before we jump right into the subject of today's video, which, as you guessed, is another 20 seeds that we're tracking down. And this is going to be in some highly Guardian infested areas, as the only seeds that we have left are near Hyrule Castle. First seed of our adventure is a simple set of fairy lights that are running around. And after tracking them down, we've got to hightail it out of here as safely as we can, because this place is crawling with guardians from left to right. And not only do we have to deal with the guardian here, but we've got a bokoblin with a bow and arrow riding around on horseback. And just when you think you're safe, well, you could not be further from the truth. As you can see, I'm delicately dodging around not only these arrows, but also this homing beacon from this guardian, trying to make my way up this tower to get to the fairy lights that are found atop it. And doing decently well, even to the point where the guardian has completely lost interest in me. But as I try to maneuver around the pole, well, the bokoblin had other plans. So I won't make you sit through me reclimbing that entire pole again. We'll just kind of quickly make our way up to the top and further avoid any suspicions of the guardians patrolling this area and collect our seed from this spot, and then move right on along to the next location, which, boy howdy, does this make things a little more stressful. Seed number 843 is one that I cut out another guardian chase from, but it is a simple acorn that's just kind of hanging off of this wrecked wagon. And you can shoot it, but if you position yourself appropriately, you can also hit it with basically any weapon you have. So that's what I elect for, as I'd like to conserve arrows wherever possible. And that was certainly a moment where it could have been done. Also could have been achieved with a bomb blast. Seed number 844 is another rock, and again, I haven't looked specifically, but I am of the opinion that these particular rock puzzles make up for a third of all Korok seeds in the game. So, no exceptions here. We're going to leave this guy a nice little concussion before moving right on along to our next flagpole that we're going to climb. And this one is going to be just about as easy as the last one. The nice thing is that we're not having to deal with a guardian at all. I've got the footage sped up yet again to make it up to the top, and with the little extra stamina that we have, we do make it all the way to the top before... Like I was saying, we make it all the way to the top before interacting with those fairy lights and claiming the seed from this spot. And with that one claimed, we can now go back down onto the lower ground and collect the next seed. As I don my Hyrulean camouflage, we are basically waiting for this guy to run away and leave us in peace. You can actually hear the Korok running around. It's a set of fairy lights in the grass here, and it actually runs right around, does a loop around that tree that we were hiding from the guardian on the trunk of. So nice that we didn't have to work too much harder for that one than what was absolutely needed. The next seed is right here in this same little grove, and I'm trying to use my bomb strategy to blast that acorn out, but it seems to be just too high out of the area, and, well, I don't want to draw any more suspicion from that guardian than I absolutely have to, so I will go ahead and make the sacrifice of using an arrow in this spot. Though we've exemplified a lot of different examples where that's not needed. The next one is, again, another archery puzzle, which we can track down with a shot and the balloon just kind of hanging out there in the canopy of this tree. And a short walk away is another archery puzzle that, well, it's not these apples, but instead standing on top of this trunk, you will notice that there is an acorn that flies at a relatively close distance, and acorns have a small hitbox, but this one is not far away, so I don't feel the use to use a Fenric or golden bow on that one to make sure that we get the hit on it. So, certainly happy that that one worked out in our favor. And we can now move a little bit deeper into Hyrule to the fountain that's right outside the proper Hyrule Castle. And as we make our way up this pillar, you'll notice that this guardian comes over to investigate a little bit. As long as we stay out of line of sight, we're fine. We can then claim the seed from underneath this rock. and shortly thereafter drop it back down on top of his head before dropping into the field down below. The Phantom Armor chest plate is actually found right there in that fountain as well, if you haven't tracked that down. Seed number 851 is going to be another rock, this one on top of a larger plateau, easier to hide from some of the Guardian opponents, and yes, that is some very blatant foreshadowing, because in order to get to the next seed, well, there is a Guardian standing guard over that little stable that you can kind of see there in the background, and in order to have any hope and a prayer of completing that Korok seed, you gotta take this guy out, as well as the two bokoblins on horseback. So, everybody gets one miss with that Guardian laser parry. So we've had our one miss, and now we've just got to hit 3 reflections back to back in order to, well, walk away with the victory from here. We'll also take out a couple of keys with our Korok spear before moving down to finish off those bokoblins, which I've done off camera. And then this is just a simple flower counting puzzle, where you'll need to interact with the flowers in the proper sequence. The 4 clump is over on the other side of this path, but it's pretty easy to access, and then you just need to sneak your way on the underside and grab that last collection of 5 to claim your reward and move right along from this spot into the next. Which, of course, is going to be another Korok that's hiding underneath a rock on top of a grassy knoll this time instead of a cliff or other pillar. And, well, they get creative with some of the places they hide these on occasion. I'm getting a little bit tired of them, but we're just about done as we have only less than 50 seeds to go at this point. We now have a large boulder that needs to be pushed off the top of this pillar, and for whatever reason, it only likes to be pushed from a specific angle, which unfortunately in my case brought it crashing down right on top of this other boulder. To get it moved a little bit closer, I do go ahead and use stasis, and then we will just push and roll using some brute force for the remainder of that placement, as it should just kind of relax right into the divot as soon as we get it close enough. And as long as it's in the general area and comes to a rest, you'll be able to claim that seed with little to no problem as well. And as we move on to seed number 855, we have probably my least favorite puzzle in the entire game. You've picked one apple, you've picked 1,000,003 of them. So, well, we're not only needing to climb up this tree, but we're also trying to avoid these small little choo-choo enemies in the process. And just like that, we have that seed claimed, and I'm fairly confident to the point of betting money on the fact that I'll never have to do one of those again in this run. Seed number 856 is very easy to do. You just need to stand on this little ice floe that's located on the river and crack a shot at the acorn hanging from a chain underneath the bridge. Easy enough, though you might have some issues finding that ice floe if you're not certain exactly where to look for it, so just be cautious as you go about setting that up. We can now move over to seed number 857, and this is going to be another installment in my favorite series, which is Hyrule Curling. This, again, is probably the last time that we'll get to do this particular puzzle, and it involves chucking a rock across a couple of Cryonis blocks right into the center of those rocky spires. And it's sad to see that that's probably the last one that we'll have to do in that format, but they were good while they lasted. Seed number 858 is going to be a nice little rock hanging out on top of the battlement ramparts of the fort that's closest to the Hyrule Castle, and as we give this guy a little bit of shelter from the guardians nearby, one of them locks onto me, so it's time for me to make my exit. But we do have 2 final seeds left to do. We'll have to do an airbound strike in order to get the first of them, and that is just a bombable structure down below in this little devastated valley. And after collecting this little guy, we can move a short jaunt over to the east in order to collect the last seed. And that, yet again, is going to be a nice little rock that's just kind of hanging out and minding his own business. And with that, we only have 40 seeds left to do, and a solid chunk of them are located within Hyrule Castle. So starting in our next installment, we will be heading into the bowels of Hyrule Castle to collect the last, or start collecting the last of our seeds. So thanks again for watching, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.